announcing their plans as a party to save the Speaker of the House from being fired. Everybody's throwing around the term coalition government on this program last week, and it is feeling a little bit like one. Nathan Dean is with us. I'm happy to report for his normal, I should say, weekly conversation. It's rarely normal. Nathan, from Bloomberg Intelligence, senior policy analyst here in Washington. You saw this coming, but to hear it is kind of different when it's coming from the leadership like this. Are Democrats in charge of the House now?
I don't think Democrats are in charge of the House, but it was kind of surreal to see that press release come out today and say that we're going to save the Republican speaker. But what we're telling our clients is, look, outside of the FAA reauthorization, a couple other bills that need to happen this year, it's almost like the prime time for a caretaker speaker. So even if this motion to vacate goes forward and the Democrats save Speaker Johnson's position, there's really not coming down much down the line that we really need to be worried about. No debt ceiling, no, broad piece of legislation. So it's almost like the perfect time for this to happen, at least from a market perspective.
He's a conservative. I don't think anyone's doubting his conservative credentials. Got a couple of important things passed here. Does this eliminate his chances of being re-elected Speaker?
I don't think, look, nobody knows. The only person I think would know would be President Trump if he wins the election in November.
It's been suggested, though, that this weakens a Republican to be saved by members of the other party, that, you're suddenly just seen in a different light by your own conference.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at what he's done. I mean, he has negotiated several big packages in a way that he has still put the Republicans in a favorable position going into the election.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of House Republicans, that's exactly what you needed to do.
How about that?
And so, it could have turned out much worse. So, if Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and a couple of her allies want to go move forward with this, certainly I don't think President Trump wants that. And I think Speaker Johnson has done a great job of keeping the Trump shield, if you will, around him for now. And I think it's just a matter of, don't think about next year. Don't worry about what's going to happen next. Just focus on the moment. Focus on getting to the elections and keeping your party in a position to
easy for you to say. Well, so she didn't show up for the conference meeting last night, apparently, of all people, on what I was calling Marjorie Monday, was a no-show. She still says she's going to actually bring this to the floor, that she will make this a privileged resolution to put everyone on the record. Do we expect that to happen?
When I saw the Democratic press release came out this morning, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, they think that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is not going to move forward. So now's the time we're going to say, hey, had this come, we were going to save him anyway, just to put that out there. And then she comes back and says, well, I'm still going to, put it up for a vote and make a record and so forth.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think anybody else really knows, except for maybe 5 people in this town, what her plans truly are. But what I will say is that if it does happen, we'll go through the motions. The Democrats will move, save the speaker, and we'll move on to the FAA reauthorization and other pieces of
and that's just a motion to table, and 5 minutes later we're done, right?
Correct.
And that would not be a very dramatic 15-round kind of a thing again. So let's talk about reality. You mentioned the FAA reauthorization. Not sure why this has taken so long, unless it's just a debate over adding more airplanes to National Airport here, which is its own controversy, especially for someone who lives near the airport. The rafters are going to be shaken more, it looks like. But this is kind of the last vehicle to attach something to, is the conversation we've been having. So what's going on board?
Yeah, to Christmas tree or not to Christmas tree, that's really the question with the FAA reauthorization. What we mean by Christmas tree is, are you going to add everything else to this?
Right.
Is the FAA reauthorization going to be that vehicle to get other pieces of bills and legislation? A couple of things we're looking for. The Safer Banking Act. We've talked about this before in the program, potentially combined with a stablecoin bill. I actually don't think it's going to succeed. I don't think there's a lot of chances here. The reason being is that Senator McConnell has already voiced his opposition to the idea. We have not seen any Republican support from key leadership positions like House Speaker Johnson and House Financial Services Committee Chairman Patrick McHenry. And secondly, where's the stablecoin bill? They haven't agreed on it yet. They're still talking language. And if they're talking language on a stablecoin bill that they're going to use as an olive branch or a sweetener, if you will, to get other people to come on board, we've got to see the text.
Amazing.
May 10th is just a few days away.
Well, that's incredible. So we could have a world in which neither are attached. Is there a longer list of priorities that would make news?
Well, you know, I think Senator Durbin of Illinois may try again with his Credit Card Competition Act. This is something that he tried last year with the NDAA, and I think has tried with pretty much any must-pass piece of legislation that has come up. What Senator Durbin is trying to do here is increase competition for credit card networks. So this is bad for Visa and MasterCard, good for Discover and American Express. It would require banks to offer Visa and somebody else, or MasterCard and somebody else.
Got it.
I just don't think it's going to be there, because on the opposite side, you have the airlines saying, look, if this bill goes through, all those credit card reward programs, those free mileage programs, they may go away. So I'm not sure lawmakers are willing to take that bet with only a few days of debate.
Incredible. We've talked about a couple of other things that don't rise to the level. Counter drone authorities, some banking measures here. You mentioned stablecoin. Why is this taking so long? We have been talking to lawmakers about this who seem passionate in support of making this happen on the committee since last year.
Yeah, I mean, positive language from both parties has been going
Maxine
back.
Waters wants this. Everybody, French Hill was on a couple days ago pushing for this.
Janet Yellen, the Treasury Department, they were saying 18 months ago that they were close on a deal, but that deal hasn't come yet.
So where's the rub?
I think there's one problem is I think this package, whatever it looks like, the stablecoin bill, and I think it can pass after the FAA, will require 100% of those stablecoins to be backed up by high-quality liquid assets. There would be some bank registration through the Federal Reserve. The problem is on the non-bank registration. So if you're a non-bank stablecoin issuer and you're not going to be overseen by the Federal Reserve, currently I think a lot of Republicans want that going to the states. That's how money transmitters like PayPal are registered and overseen is by the states. But the Democrats countered, look, if you're going to have a non-bank stablecoin issuer, everybody's just going to go, let's just pick on Wyoming. And they're going to go out of New York and they're going to go to Wyoming. I think they can get there. I think there's some language about, hey, maybe if you have a certain number of or a certain number of coins in your circulation, you graduate to the federal oversight before that. So I think they can.
But it's a standalone in the end, is what you're saying.
I think so. I mean, I just don't think it's enough to get marijuana banking over the line.
Right.
And, they maybe it's a lame duck.
We're talking about marijuana banking. We've talked many times before about rescheduling cannabis as well, and there was some reporting in the last 24 hours that could be imminent, that it could be today or tomorrow. This is not the first time somebody's sounded the alarm like that. Are you hearing anything?
We've heard that before. A lot of times they come on Fridays. A lot of the retail investors like to say it's going to come on Fridays. But look, I do think it's coming. We're giving it a 70% chance. And we're telling our clients, though, just remember, when they announce that it's going to go, or when they announce it will go from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, it will come in the form of a proposal. It has to go through the comment period, the Administrative Procedures Act. So the actual decision doesn't happen, let's say, for maybe 6 or 9 months down the road. You will see the headline jump for these marijuana equities. These things have hot sauce. So just be careful. They're going to go up and down based off of what decision is made. But for that 280E tax relief, this is the tax rate going from 40% down to 5% for a lot of these marijuana equities. That's not going to happen, and you can't calculate that until your 2025 earnings.
Fascinating. Last thing on stablecoin. Does that help determine whether this succeeds or not, who the next chair of the committee is going to be?
Possibly. I think Patrick McHenry really wants this done. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where he has to get done, but it's certainly something that I think he's pushing for. And enough policy makers out there have said that there are enough regulatory gaps in the system. I think at the end of the day, they can just push this through without much.
So the members vying for the chairmanship aren't working behind the scenes to sort of leverage stablecoin in their.
Now, as long the one caveat there is that Representative Emmer has made issues that if he combines his anti-central bank digital currency bill with a stablecoin bill, Democrats may just say, I'm not voting for that package. I'm backing out.
How about it?
So if you see this anti-central bank digital currency legislation being packaged together with a stablecoin bill,
that's really important.
Then, the odds could potentially decrease.
Less likely now that Democrats are essentially sharing power with Mike Johnson, though, right? I don't know. That would be a real impact of what just happened.
But I think this was just a political exercise that I think the calculations now are all about November.
Sure.
I think
no committees are changing their shape because of this. That's a real power sharing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nathan Dean with us to set us straight. It's great, as always, to see you back with us from Bloomberg Intelligence. Read more about this. It broke just in the last couple of hours. Democrats moving to save Mike Johnson from his own party.